Hey folks, lack of response here. You've already seen the thumbnail, so you know what knife we're talking about. But I want to do this intro a little differently. Let's start out with this meme. You don't have a skeleton inside you. You're a brain. You're inside a skeleton. You're piloting a bone mech that's using meat armor. When you realize that bone mech with meat armor is made out of your mom, you get Evangelion. You may have seen that color scheme before on that guy. There we go, Barney the dinosaur. Or that guy, the Joker. Pop culture figures that you might recognize, and on that knife. That is the Maxace Dragon Knight, and that will be the subject of our good, bad, and the weird today. We're going to talk about the good, which is things I like about it. The bad, which is things I'm not a fan of so much, or that kind of work against it in some way. And the weird, which are things that stand out, like this lovely Evangelion Joker Barney the Dinosaur color scheme. Green, purple, yellow. Okay. Let's start out with measurements and size comparisons. Measurements, we have 9.5 inches total overall length. Blade sitting right about 4. Total cutting edge, with a little bit more room for that big finger choil. Of course, there's schmutz on my blades. That is a nice roomy finger choil too. We will talk about that in the good. Let's see what that says. That says Maxace, because it's a Maxace knife. That says M390. It is an M390 blade. It's not an integral, as you can see. This is all kind of, there are these two titanium liners. And then these scales and backspacer are all one big piece here of green titanium with pivot colors, bolsters. Also green, Cerakote titanium. Well, that's Cerakote. With some yellow accents around the pocket clip, and I don't know what that is other than just decorative, or yeah, it's just decorative there. And I believe all these little extra holes are so that way you can swap that pocket clip over there, and it came with a different pocket clip that would use those two little holes under there, or you could attach it there for just a pocket clip that looks less like a spear of Longinus. Okay, so that's kind of the first look there. We've measured size comparison time. Bigger than a large Sebenza 21. Bigger than a Spyderco Manix. There we go. Relevant size comparisons. Is there another Maxace we can compare it to? Yeah, let's grab a couple more Maxaces. I think this is the Maxace Vortex that we saw when we were going through the big knife case. So it's smaller than a Maxace Vortex, and here we go. Smaller than a Maxace Goliath. So, not the smallest thing Maxace makes by a long shot. Smallest Maxace I own, definitely. I've thought about getting some of their smaller models, but the money and the availability never line up for me. Okay. So now let's talk about the good things I like. I do appreciate the Evangelion color scheme. Evangelion. How do you pronounce it? Tell me in the comments. Educate us. And all the little accents, the little horn that also acts as a flipper or front flipper. I guess, what is that? Like a pocket snagging opener, pocket deployer, Emerson wave type thing. I don't use those because I carry in a pocket slip, but it does make a nice thumb disc as well to just spidey flick off of. You can also use the flipper tab, but that makes a nice little thumb rest, so you can choke up or hang back and put your thumb in that little divot. I like that. It's very thick in hand. Let's do a thickness comparison. Way thicker than a Sebenza. Let's grab that ruler again and look. I don't know where to put it, but yeah. We're looking at like 3/4 of an inch thick. So, it's definitely a chubby bunny. I love the aesthetics of this. I love the colors. That is the primary reason why I bought it. It is just a cool thing. I like the DLC blade. It's kind of a, I don't know if it's DLC, PVD, or Cerakote, honestly. I know the handle's Cerakote. The finish on the blade is kind of that chalky finish that you see on like Protex, which I do enjoy. It does get schmutz on it. And I don't mind because I use it. The bat. Well, you do feel this in your pocket. It's very thick, very chunky. It will pull your pants down if your belt is not secure. It's heavy. It's a heavy one because it's got, it could be a thin titanium frame lock, but then they added the whole extra layer of armor on the exterior, which just adds like an extra whole knife handle on it. So there is that. My main gripe is the blade shape. Let me grab a different knife to show you what I mean. Let's go for something utilitarian. When you're cutting stuff with a Warnie, the tip can easily access whatever you're cutting. Oh, bump the camera. I don't know why I'm using my hand for this demonstration. That's probably not safe. Here, I'll use this. When you're cutting things with a Warnie, it's very easy to get the tip towards what you're cutting. When you're cutting things with a Persian, like the tip of the knife is literally pointing away from what you're cutting. So depending on what types of cuts you're doing, that can work against you. I am often use the tip of a knife to score like fruit peel, like orange peels or tape on a box and things like that. So having the tip pointing away from what I'm cutting makes it awkward because then I gotta like come at it from a weird angle and it's uncomfortable. So when I was primarily using knives in an office job to peel the oranges in my lunch, this would not be one that would go in my pocket very often. But on weekends for just running around, I'd grab this one. The weird. Well, I love it when Maxace does this. The vibrantly colored Cerakote finish is the weird of it. And it's good. That's what makes this knife distinctive and eye-catching and interesting and kind of worth owning and buying. The action is good. The action is definitely in the good. It does have a nice thwack. You can shake it shut if you want. I'm just struggling to do that well under the camera. There we go. So the action's nice. The color scheme is makes it very appealing. The pocket deployer also works great as a thumb disc and a thumb rest when you're choked up. It's heavy. The Persian blade shape is not the most suitable for my cutting tasks, but your mileage may vary. if you use Persian blade shapes a lot, what do you think they're good at? Tell us in the comments. And the lanyard whole thing is out here on the side. That sticking out that much just to accommodate a lanyard is weird. I feel like they could have put it in back there and it would be a better placement. So that's weird. I know I normally gripe about pocket clips up on standoffs, but this is just done so nicely. And it doesn't sit too proud of the handle because it is kind of on the inner layer rather than if that pocket clip was seated out on the exterior green layer, it would probably be sticking up too proud, but the fact that they've sunk it down to the inner layer makes it sit much nicer in my pocket slip. Where is my pocket slip? This is my cranky-hanky pocket slip that I normally use when I'm carrying this knife. It fits in there really nicely, comes out easily without deploying when I don't want it to. I've never had that thumb disc snag, so that's good. But yeah, the Maxace Dragon Knight. What do you think? Like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments. Stay tuned for more. Have a good one.